Did you know that a choice you make in your own backyard can have an effect on Lake Erie, a great lake that might be hundreds of miles away? Hi, it's Mr. Peterson, and I'm wondering if you have ever heard of an organism or a living thing known as algae. No? Well, let's take a look at algae and learn about how some of the choices made by humans can make a big impact on our environment. Algae is a plant-like organism that lives in water or moist areas and can perform photosynthesis, much like all the plants found on land like flowers and trees. Photosynthesis is the process of using sunlight to turn carbon dioxide from the air and water into food. There are actually more than 70,000 different kinds of species of algae, and they can be very beneficial to our ecosystem, but also can be very harmful. While algae is plant-like in that it does use photosynthesis to make its food, it does not have the same structures as land plants, such as leaves or stems or roots. There are some species of algae that are microscopic and can only be seen with a microscope. While most algae is important to the food chain and the ecosystem that it's a part of, there are some forms of algae that can be very harmful when they produce too much. This happens every year in one of our Great Lakes. Every summer in Lake Erie, there is a hazardous or dangerous algal bloom that threatens the lake and affects swimming at the beaches, quality of people's drinking water, and unfortunately kills thousands of fish. What is the cause of this deadly algae bloom? The answer may surprise you. I asked my friend Anna from Great Lakes Now to tell us all about what algal blooms are and how they form. I'm going to take some notes based on what Anna tells us. Then later I'm going to use those notes to fill out a sequence chart.
Hi there, I'm Anna Seisling, host of Great Lakes Now. Hazardous algal blooms, also called HABs, are a threat to Lake Erie and many waterways. They can make the lake toxic and impact our recreation like swimming, along with our drinking water, and can negatively affect wildlife in and around the lake. So what causes these algal blooms? In the spring, farmers use fertilizer in their fields to help plants grow. This fertilizer is food for the plants and contains nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus. When it rains, some of those nutrients from the fertilizer run off from the fields and enter the water system. Once in the water system, the nutrients are carried downstreams into rivers, and eventually they make it into the lakes like Lake Erie, and even into the ocean. A warm lake in the spring and summer full of nutrients is the perfect environment for algae to grow. As the algae grows, it creates a thick green slime that covers the lake. The slime grows so thick that sunlight can't reach the plants growing in the lake. If the plants can't get sunlight, they can't use photosynthesis to make their food, and they die. Once the plants die, the animals that eat those plants no longer have food to eat, so they die too. Some algae even produce a toxin that can harm or kill animals. This process is called eutrophication. So what can we do to help? Reducing the pollution created by nutrient runoff from fertilizer is one great method of stopping the dangerous blooms.
Thanks, Anna. I learned so much about algal blooms in Lake Erie. Okay, this is my sequence chart. They don't have to look like this. They can also just be a piece of paper with room to write. A sequence chart helps us to look at the order in which things happen. We start at the top and we write the first thing that happens. Then we go down the chart, writing each thing that happens in order. So what was the first thing Anna said about the cause of the algae bloom? Oh, first farmers use fertilizer on their fields to help their plants grow. Then, runoff from rain carries the nutrients in the fertilizer into Lake Erie water system. The water is then carried through the streams and the rivers until it makes it to Lake Erie. All right. And after that, the warm summer water in the lake, and the nutrients create the environment where algae grows rapidly. So the algae then forms that green slime over the surface of the water. Next, the sunlight is blocked by the green slime from reaching the plants in the lake. The plants then die because they can't perform photosynthesis or make that food from the sunlight. And then after that, unfortunately, the wildlife in the lake died because they can't eat the food or the plants. Do you remember what Anna said the process was called? It's a really big word, eutrophication. Let's repeat that word, eutrophication. Let's break the word down. Eu is the prefix, which means well or good. Ication is the suffix, meaning the process of becoming. The middle part, troph, which means nourished. Eutrophication, the process of something becoming well nourished. In this case, a lake is becoming overnourished. Let's write eutrophication at the top of the page for the heading of our sequence chart. This looks pretty good. Look at everything that we've learned laid out in the correct order for us. By looking closely at the order or sequence in which things happened, we can understand events and occurrences in the world better. And with knowledge comes power and responsibility. Take a look at the sequence of events we talked about today. How can you use the knowledge you gained in today's lesson to help impact our environment in a positive way?